always had that something in you where you wanted to strive for better. So describe for me, what has your journey been like in life?
The journey it's been very hard because, I was on public assistance, so it was like, at first it was a boundary there. Anybody knows about public assistance, they don't want you to go so far or they're going to cut it off.
When you describe yourself now, tell me, who's Freddie Stevenson, the man that you are now?
A few years ago, I remember in college, they would always have speakers come in and ask us who we are. I wouldn't have been able to answer the question. It probably would have had something to do with football. I'm a fullback for Florida State. I want to play in the NFL. But now it's just simple. I'm Freddie Stevenson, man of purpose.
This is a passion of mine. The whole premise behind the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast is to spotlight the fact that it is now time for you to get your dope comeback story.
Hey, say Jazzy Conversations with Jazz. Jazzy Conversations with Jazz. Say Jazzy Conversations with Jazz. Jazzy Conversations with Jazz.
Every Monday, I call people into a studio and we dig into their comeback stories, because I know that we see people in their glory and we see people when they're on top, when they can have that silver lining to them, but we all go through some things, right? We all go through some things, and I think once we're real with people and we let people know the trials and tribulations that we've gone through, it only makes us human and it connects one of us.
So I just want to know, what would be your advice to someone who is looking to start their own podcast?
First and foremost, let me back up. Find your voice. What are you going to talk about? Is it something that people want to listen to? How long will your podcast be? What's going to be the consistency of your podcast? Are you going to do it like weekly, daily? Are you going to do it monthly? So once you find that, because that's going to indicate if somebody wants to listen to your podcast or not. I do know how I'm doing it. I'm doing it with God. I'm doing it because this is a passion of mine. And when you are passionate about something, you're not going to stop. So it really it comes down to how bad do you want it. I say it all the time. It comes down to how bad do you want it. And when you have a dream and you know that dream is going to manifest into something huge because it is something that God has stated is going to happen for you, you don't give up, right? You persevere and you continue. So you are in tune to the award-winning podcast, the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. I am your host, Jasmar Jazz Bennett, mother, educational leader, and also event and podcast host. This is a special edition of the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast because I wanted to make space for my special guest. If you were hiding under a rock, then you may not know this, but there was an amazing event that transpired with women from different backgrounds with a common goal this Saturday, and we're going to talk all about it. Now, while I'm talking about it and while I am preparing to introduce my special guest, I need you to do something. First and foremost, I need for you to make sure that you are subscribing, you are liking, and you are following on YouTube, Facebook, and also on IG, right? If you are a part of my Jazzy crew, then you are doing that. And so I want to make sure that you do not miss this episode. Make sure you share it with a friend. Make sure you actively engage, and you can catch it on all podcast platforms, all right? And so if you are in tune, you know that this podcast celebrates the power of the comeback. I truly believe that you can come back from anything with God, the right resources, knowing how to use those resources effectively, and your willingness to do the necessary work. And so this person, this special lady, the Brandon genius that I am bringing on stage with me right now to welcome to the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast is none other than Miss Stacye Jones. If you know her in the branding world, then you call her simply Miss Stacye J. All right. She is a multifaceted creator and branding phenom, celebrated for her simplistic yet sophisticated approach to visual branding. As the proud owner of Simply Creative Designing Inc., a branding agency of inspiration and culture, Stacye J collaborates with luxury brands, influencers, and forward thinkers. She uses intentional design and strategy to connect her clients with innovative products, people, and communities. Now, throughout her professional career, Stacye has worked with prestigious brands such as the NFL, the NBA, Fossil, Budweiser, high level influencers, and aspiring brands. Her professional expertise, relationships, and partnerships have made Stacye a bridge to elevating brands beyond mere recognition. Now she's aiming for profound and unforgettable experiences. And so, if you are looking for a branding genius, a branding guru, then look no further because I'm going to bring Miss Stacye Jones to the stage. So, how are you, Stacye J?
I've been saying this for what, 7 months now. Today's the best day of my life. No, I feel amazing today, as always.
You look amazing as
Thank you.
always. Like I am I'm in awe of you. I'm going to say that. Like I told her, this will not be the last interview that we do because I'm going to get her into like a bells and whistles studio where we can converse. Like I'm across from her, she's across from me. I'm going to make it Oprah-ish, where we're
Mhm.
going to combine that Oprah element into the skill set that I have because I have to keep it jazzy, right? And so
Mhm.
I just said, just thinking back and then I guess analyzing, um, just thinking about our interaction that we have had since our meeting. And I definitely am in awe of you. And I'm in awe of you because you are so funny to me, but you are so precise. And your branding business, I think, describes you to the T. It's like is simple, it's creative, it's powerful, it's meaningful. Like when you do things, the more and more I talk to you, Stacye, it's like it's strategic. And I feel like if you were to fix a sandwich, you would just be like, okay, so is that artisan bread or what are we doing? Because I need to know what kind of cheese I'm going to put with that because then that's going to affect the type of plate that I use. Like, I just feel like you are strategic and everything. And I'm being funny, but
No, just
I
Stacey.
appreciate it. Like, you are a detail oriented person. And the more I speak to you, the more I realize, like, I need a Stacye on my team. Like you're just dynamic. So I just wanted
Appreciate that.
to give you those flowers because I don't know, like sometimes I have a sister who's sort of like that and she's just like, so what are you trying to say? And I'm saying, I'm trying to tell you that you are the bomb because you look at things that I wouldn't look at. Like you see things that I may overlook. And I think in your field, in your expertise, you have to have that eye, right?
Right. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So Stacye, tell us a little bit about yourself outside of you being this branding genius. I know that you are a mother, you are a fiance. Like who is Stacye J the woman? Who are you?
I am. Sometimes it's funny to say it. I'm really simply creative designing because I'm very simple. I'm low key. I don't like the fuss, but my background, I'm a fine artist first, and I think that that makes a difference in how I design, the way that I see the world. Like the world to me is just art, but
Yeah.
I started off as a fine artist, so I draw better than I design. A lot of people don't know that, but that's
Okay.
where everything started. I got my scholarship for college as a drawing major first, and then it trickled into me doing a dual major and becoming a graphic designer. I didn't want to get dirty anymore,
Yeah.
but which is really the truth. I just really didn't want to come to school getting dirty anymore. And graphic design allowed me to still be a fine artist, but I was able to put it into the computer, and the computer started to make things really clean,
Yeah.
crisp, precise. I didn't need the ruler all the time, and you got your mouse. So, my background, and I'm a Caribbean girl. I'm a
Yeah.
Jamaican girl. Some people don't know
Right.
that. So, like on Sundays, I'm hardcore patois. I'm eating the curry and the brown stew and escovitch fish and stuff like that. So,
And that's what I
I'm
want.
a
So
I'm a
that's
real island girl. I'm a
you
mom.
cook
Like
or you partake. Are you cooking?
I cook a
authentically?
lot. I cook a lot. I cook so much that my 3-year-old, I think that if we put her in the kitchen by herself with some stuff, she probably
Yeah.
can put some things on the stove and do a little thing or
Yeah.
two.
Because I'm
Yeah,
a
so I
foodie. Like,
I
y'all
cook
gonna invite me
frequently.
over.
Say
Y'all
again?
gonna invite me over for Sunday dinner. Like
Right, right.
I love to eat, and I also love Caribbean food. And I literally today just found out that you were from Jamaica. And so when did you come over to the States?
Well, my parents are from Jamaica, so I was born. My sister is the only one that was born
Okay.
overseas, but I was born here in the States. But
Okay.
yes, I'm still a Caribbean girl. We are both my mom and my dad are Jamaican. So
Yeah.
and our whole family. So we still have people that are there. Like my parents, they just came back from the Caribbean what 2, 3 days ago.
Okay.
So yeah, so when I think about myself to describe myself, I would say even with us going into some of the sit and things like that, like I'm really the girl that's rooting for everybody. And when I think about myself, it's nice to have somebody ask you like, who really are you?
Yeah.
I really love helping people, which is why I think God gifted me with my talent because it requires me, like I depend on people in order for me to exist.
Yeah.
I mean, I live because I breathe air, but in order for me to do the thing that I do and I'm successful at it, it requires me to have these relationships with other people. So I'm really the people's people and I love people. I love helping people.
Yeah.
I just love people, period. But that's who I am in a nutshell. I'm the simple, low key. I don't want to be with the fuss.
Yeah.
I can make some fuss with the design, but like
Yeah.
I'm the talent can do the talking for me in most cases, but I'm really a simple, low key. I'm a hardcore island girl that just really loves people.
Yeah. When you talk about your industry, because when you are branding for someone, in my scope, in my view of it, if
Mhm.
I'm putting myself in your shoes, I'm looking at it. Uh-oh, Stacy, we lost you with the picture. I'm looking at it. If you can still hear me, Stacy, I'm looking at it from. I hope her phone did not die. Stacy, are you good? Let me see if I can call her. So, if you guys just tuned in, we are talking to the branding genius, Miss Stacye J of Stacye Jones Branding, Stacye J, Simply Creative Designs Inc. We are talking to her. I'm going to see if I can get her back on. But if you are tuning in, we are going to talk all things sit. We are going to talk all things branding, and we are getting to know Miss Stacye J. She was just telling us about herself, about how she comes from the Caribbean, and a lot of people, including myself, because I just figured this out today, a lot of people did not know that she was Jamaican, and she actually is. I just found out that she loves to cook, and y'all know I love to eat. So look, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to scheme on some things on how I'm going to get me some Sunday dinner. So I hope that that comes in. I hope that does happen. And so, hey girl. That's
Sorry about that.
okay. That's okay. Not a problem at all. And so we were talking and I was just saying from my scope, when I look at the field of branding, you take on all of these projects and it comes with someone's personality. It comes with someone's dream, someone's product. And so in your sphere of building these relationships, I don't want to ask you how genuine do you have to be, but do you go into each relationship like with a genuine heart, or is it like business is business and this is just how I operate? Like, how does that work?
So it's actually a space that I'm maneuvering through as the
Yeah.
time goes by. Like normally a project starts. I don't know, John from Adam to who, but
Yeah.
with branding, you have to get to know like true branding. You really want to know the person that you're doing business with. So I'm building a relationship. I'm getting to know the person. A lot of times, and at first I used to feel weird about it, but again, I'm a people's person, right? But people naturally the relationships they grow and they grow into something more than that. I'm still working with clients that I've worked with since I started my business.
Yeah.
So I would say yes. I don't know in the beginning. There are some projects that you have and it's just straight business and then you get the job done and you keep it going. But for the most part, the relationships have fostered like even with the event that I just had, I hand selected those women. And believe it or not, when we came up with the idea, okay, we're going to do 100 women, and it's okay to talk about it a little bit, right?
Yes, because we
Okay.
listen. So let's do it. Let's segue into all things sit because I'm sitting on my hands. I'm like, this event was amazing. So you hand selected. First of all, let's talk about that. You hand selected
Mhm.
100 women because you were leading into that conversation with how you foster these relationships. These are relationships that you've had with people. Talk about how you hand selected them and then like what came after that. Like when people just found out, oh, it was like just an invite. You had to RSVP if you were invited because I had so many people in my inbox. How did I miss this? Oh my God, it was beautiful.
Mhm.
So tell us the process of how you selected these 100 women.
Believe it or not, the event taught me a lot about myself,
Yeah,
because even when I was creating the list with the team, and we said, okay, we're going to do 100 people because it just makes sense.
yeah,
We think that that makes sense. 100 women, that's a beautiful number. I think that I spent 1 hour, and within 1 hour, I had a list of maybe 216 people on the list. So to me, it showed me a lot about myself. Like, damn, like I really build relationships. And
yes,
these are people that I would be honored to sit at a table with me, like women. And it's not men. Remember, I do business with men and women.
yeah,
But I was like at 216 women, and then I'm trickling down. And as I started to, which some people, hopefully, if they see the episode, it was no like, oh, one person is better. I started to go through the categories, and then they're telling me, okay, we got to cut this number down. How
yeah,
many realtors are here on this list? Can we remove some of the realtors, because it doesn't make sense to have a room of 20 realtors, right? How can we not get rid of, but like slim down the stylists? How can we slim down hairstylists? How can we slim down corporate women? How can we slim down teachers? How many I know, maybe through doing business, I probably branded about maybe 6 estheticians, but
yeah,
which of those 6 makes sense to sit in this very moment?
yeah,
Okay, Kia Trapman is one. She's up and coming. Her business is beautiful. She's a beautiful woman, beautiful spirit. Okay, maybe it makes sense for her to be there, and one other skin individual,
yeah,
which Katie, well, I say Katie in Creole, they say Katie, but Katia Saintford, like she does skincare as well. Like, who makes sense to be in this space at this moment? Not that other women were not valuable, because everyone is valuable, but did it make sense in that moment? So that was how creating the list came about,
yeah,
and how I
yeah,
was able to take it from like 216 in 1 hour, and then like spending 2 days of like, how do I get this number down and make it make sense to where, because again, the whole experience with sit was not just for us to take a bunch of pretty pictures and
right,
be in this space together. It was like, it was really for people to network. So I'm thinking, okay, I know this person, and understanding their business. I mean, the science to it was even deeper than people think it is. Like, I'm thinking, if I invite this woman, who is it that she potentially may run circles with or have a conversation with? And
yeah,
how is that going to change business for both of them? So then now it's like, when I'm making the list go down, am I making the list go down in a way that is going to be beneficial to the attendees and so forth? So it was a lot to it.
a lot.
So where I was just like, golly, I had highlighters, color coordinating the categories, and just figuring out, okay, in my imaginary mind, this person, I just know they're gonna have a conversation together. And I
Yeah,
know, and I had an original set back in 2017,
yeah,
the same year that COVID first hit. And it was
mhm,
really, it was just an idea that I had. I was telling Prince, hey, I'm so tired of people hitting me up, asking me to connect them with somebody. And now I gotta be the one doing all these chain texts and these email communications and stuff. So I had an idea, and I was like, why don't we all just sit together? We
yeah,
sit together, we build relationships together, and I can remove myself. You can build a real authentic relationship by yourself. And then I had a list of 50. I was nervous. I invited the first 35 off the list, and I was like, oh, you know how people are. Some of them gonna
yeah,
say they can't come. Everybody RSVP'd. So then I
good.
never even got to invite the other women. So now that I had the opportunity to increase the number, I wanted to make sure it was intentional.
Great. And when we talk about intentionality, because yes, we saw the care, the craft that went into it, the attention to detail. Talk about your intentions for this event. What is SIT? What was it intended to do? Because you said some of it, but in a nutshell, like just the whole theory behind it. When you thought about it and you sat down and you brainstormed it, what was the goal of SIT?
What I've learned, I used to feel weird talking about it when I first got into business, but
Yeah.
now it's like I feel like God does his thing the way he's gonna do it, and a lot of times it's the way it's deserving. So I
Yeah.
got to a place now where I know like I deserve the things that I've received in business. I'm a hard worker. I'm genuine with people. Like again, I love people. My mission has never been to be in business just for the dollar. I really enjoy serving people. So for me in the beginning, I think. Wait, ask your question one more time and make sure I'm going in the right
No,
space.
just and I think you are going in that right
Mhm.
space. I just wanted to know, like, with all of the intentionality that went into this event, overall, your whole purpose for SIT was what?
Right, was to make sure that like for me in business where I was going, so thank you so much, is I've learned that collaboration it is the only if you really want to be successful, like truly successful, we are not created by ourselves like Adam and Eve. Like it's always something with something, a seed, even with a plant. Put the seed in the ground, it can't grow without water. So we have to collaborate, right? So the whole idea for SIT was to push people into collaboration because I
Yes,
just know what it's done for me, like even having Mecca sit on a stage next to us, and I just think about like all the blessings and the creative projects that I worked on through collaboration with that woman. You know what I mean? I've had a relationship with a woman named Miss Paulette, and Miss Paulette introduced me to Miss Donna, and Miss Donna was a panelist. But everything has always been, my blessings have always been collaboration. So because I know that it's something that has anchored me and also allowed me to grow in business. I
yes,
wanted to show people because sometimes I hear conversation and you'll hear people have these things about, oh, people gatekeep, or that's like the
yeah,
new term, or you'll hear people say, oh, I've had these bad experiences with women, or I don't want to do business with these type of people. It's just like, no, if you build the right relationships, you'll be so surprised how much help that you'll get, how
yeah.
much people like for real, I'm that is my new thing, right?
And I love
That
it
are
when you say
like
it too.
rooting for us. It's
Girl.
just that sometimes you have to be bold enough to start that conversation. You got to be bold enough to introduce yourself, to pass along your business card, or jump in a selfie with somebody. You know what I mean? I know what it's done for me. So I said if I could be the person here in Central Florida to start to initiate that, then I'm willing to take on that toll and that responsibility just because I know when we start collaborating, like again,
Yeah.
I'm about to say it for real. I think that we can change the way that like our city is operating right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you when you pitched this to me, and by the way, thank you so much. I cannot say it enough. Thank you so much for, asking me to be the moderator of the event. Um, I'm the official host. I'm telling you that right now.
Right?
Well, you said it at one point
Well,
too.
the
Uh,
people have spoken and they love you. So I think that's a definite collaboration thing that we will be sealing down with contractual stuff like for real.
listen, listen.
Yeah.
You see my imaginary
Look.
pen? Okay. Just so you see it, but just in our conversations, like
Mhm.
like Stacey, you walk the talk, and it is what you say you do. What you say comes to reality. Like, when you were talking to me about this event, and you're the way that you were describing everything about SIT, I'm listening to you and I'm like, where's the catch? I'm listening to the catch. I'm listening to, like, what's not sounding right with this event. Never once did I hear it. Every time I had a conversation with you, you were uplifting me. You were uplifting the women. You were just basking in the greatness of all the women that were going to be in the room. You were talking about how this was going to be a game changer, like what you wanted to do in Central Florida, what your heart was telling you, you know, what you really wanted to do, and then just the elevation. And one thing I really really like about you is you are so unapologetic about wanting to do things in luxury. And I think sometimes women are afraid to go after, you know,
Mm-hmm.
luxury. And like you stated, that comes from your hard work. You've worked so hard that now you're at a level where you can partner with a Mercedes Benz, where you can partner, you know, with this brand and that brand and bring this influencer here to Polk County, Florida. And so just being around you, it was like a breath of fresh air, you know, because I'm watching you make this happen. Like we're meeting up at the Mercedes dealership to do a promo video, like you're picking out cars for your event, and I'm just watching you in amazement. And I just want to say, you know, thank you for the invite to the room, because that room, I know we talk about rooms, but baby, this was the room of
It's so funny.
all rooms, you know. And it was a room that for me, and I know so many other women, like probably
Mhm.
every woman for sure at your event felt this way. We felt that we belonged. We just felt a sense of urgency to do better, urgency to level up.
Mhm.
And honestly, and I wanted to make it that way in real time, which is why I called somebody from the audience and I'm like, look, we carry around these thoughts, these dreams, these aspirations, but what is it? What is it that you're doing? What is it that you want to do and you haven't moved on it? And it was so many people in that room, although they are great women. They are boss women.
Mhm.
They know what they want to do. I saw the eyes of people there and it was just like, she's talking to me. It's like I connected with them on that level. And I was so glad when someone came up and shared and the panel got to pour into them. See, that to me, I think that's power in real time. And you guys gave so many gems. And I just want to know, like for you, because I know how I felt there. And I'm gonna explain to you how I felt there. But what did you feel, Stacye? Like we've been telling you through email, through text, through social media inboxes and mirror
I
conversations.
look, I've had so many conversations since, and so many text messages, and just my feeling in the moment of like
Yeah,
leading. It's crazy because everything that I thought Sit would be, it came to fruition. And I think that that's important too. It may just be the branding in me or the designer in me, because when people reach out about their business, most times they see one little thing. And then when we get in this conversation, we're doing strategy call, we're talking, I'm consulting with them, then it's like, oh my gosh, I would have never known that my fitness line could end up into a real boutique. But like all I gotta do is this, and it'll lead me there. So
yeah.
for me, I mean, I had my vision board. Some people don't believe in it, but hey, I
Yeah.
remember my first vision board party I went to was with Nicole Linnell, her best friend in LA. One day I just
I
randomly,
love her.
do
Oh,
you?
I
I
love
do. She
her.
is so bomb.
I
She's
love
so
her.
bomb. She is
Who?
such a sweetheart and so bomb. And even that collaboration, collaborating with Coriel in Atlanta led me to having a conversation with Nicole. And now I'm in Nicole's. I'm not a fearful person. I'm in her DMs. Now we're chattering as, and having conversation when every time that I see her, it's
Yeah,
like a genuine, like, hi girl, and how you doing? It's not like you know what I mean?
I love
And
that.
but for me, let me pull up this thing. For me, it was like in leading up to it, I had my vision board. I knew who I wanted to have as my panelist people. I knew what conversations that I needed to have to strategically make sure that the value was there on both sides. Even from the color schemes. I studied the colors that I felt like could connect. Like some
Yeah,
people don't like aqua, even to brand with it. Aqua is a color that reinforces refresh. It refreshes you. It's creativity. So like for me, I was thinking about all those things prior to, but then leading into Sit, for me, I was like, oh my gosh, who's the people who I should be connected to that can help me execute this thing the right way, and making sure that the team was set up right. And then going into and that alone was a really beautiful experience.
yeah. You
Just the
had
people
some bomb
who
teammates.
supported and was able to, like, because my mind is always thinking creativity, so sometimes I'm thinking something can happen, and then
Yeah,
you have the person who comes in there's more detail oriented and logistics, and they're like, girl, I know you want to have that, but can you really imagine women walking this direction and going through that? So I had that part, but as of the day of the event, even leading to the event, I was praying. Literally, I would pray every day, and I just kept asking God to not to keep me in a space where I'm thinking about how is it going to benefit the women,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
can genuinely and honestly say that from creation to the day of, and even to now, like I can't remember a moment when it was about me.
Yeah.
I can't remember a moment where I was thinking like, how is this going to benefit me, or what will I look like? Even when I'm going, my photographer just, who's my bestie, Martina's just sent the photos, and I'm going through and I'm looking at, I'm trying to find this girl. I'm like, oh, I should send to her this. I need to give them access to this. It's
Yeah.
still about the women, which is
Women.
such a beautiful thing. But
Yeah.
the day of, again, I know I'm saying a lot, but the
It's
day of, it
grateful.
was, that was still the thing. I was so full because I could
Yeah.
see even when I first stepped back after we did the setup, everybody came and you can tell they felt good. And
Yeah.
I feel like even with some events, you get, it's one thing to be encouraged and empowered,
Mhm.
it's a different thing to be inspired. And you
Absolutely.
could tell that because the inspiration is, it lingers afterwards. You know what I mean? Empowerment, I feel like you gotta keep ramping up for it. But when you're inspired, like that's something that sit in your heart and it make you start figuring out things. And you can tell like all the girls were like really inspired. They
Yeah.
kept, oh my God, I would have never believed that you could, even Bonnet Springs, like Bonnet Springs was like, I cannot believe that we have a G Wagon on our patio. And even when I pitched the idea,
Yeah.
they, I don't even think they envisioned it the way that it happened. And they were like, there's girls taking pictures in G Wagons on the patio. It
Listen,
was
I'm like,
giving.
I'm about to call Josh tonight and be like, Mr. Henderson, listen, because we were in Leadership Lakeland together. I'm gonna be like, look, uh, more events like this, please, sir. This is what we're talking
Right. Even setting up the table, and I have to pay homage to Reese, who was a part of the team. My
about.
original
Girl.
vision was one long table because I'm thinking if we sitting together, we gonna sit together, we gonna break
Bring us
bread
together.
together,
Yeah.
like we gonna do the real thing, right? And then the table would have been too long; it wouldn't have fit on the lawn. And then we were gonna do two rows, and Reese was like, "No, I think you need to stick with your original thought. We gotta eat together." And then we doing the, okay,
Stacey.
let's box it so that, and even that,
Stacey.
it was, everything was just so
And
perfect
Reese.
to me.
Stacey, let's put a pin in this table situation,
Hmm.
please. Purple is my favorite color, first of all. And
Okay.
you had this just gorgeous shade of purple,
Hmm.
not eggplant. It just was just the perfect shade of purple that would go with your aquas and these beautiful colors like the hint of golds that you had, the flowers. I'm gonna tell you, I walked in because I'm trying to, because I'm like, it made me like walking up, it made me pay attention to everything. Do you hear me? Like I just right, purple is super cute. Hey Sharina, how you doing, girl? Listen, I'm Sharina. Oh my god. Like I'm speechless. I'm speechless, but I'm sincerely speechless. I'm telling you when I walked up, there were people taking pictures
Hmm.
with the Mercedes, the blue. Oh my gosh, that metallic blue was, oh my gosh. It was just, it was it with the
Hmm.
backdrop. And I'm just looking, it's like everywhere I looked, it's like my eyes were like, okay, now look this way. And now focus on this. And then I'm like, okay, you have a sit backdrop over there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like the way that the water is flowing into the bar area. And you have like these high top, tables where women are just gatherings like sporadically or sparsely, but they're all connected. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at the wrapping on the bar. It's like everywhere I looked, I felt satisfaction. Like I'm reading what it says, like the messages of how you the pretty, like the way you feel the prettiest is by the, being pretty on the inside,
Hmm.
oh my gosh. And I was talking to someone, I'm like, oh, I know this person. And like we're just giving hugs. And I'm like, how are
Hmm.
you? And I'm seeing the drinks and I'm seeing like the natural products. I'm seeing the flower scape come out of the G Wagon, Lord.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, I just get a glimpse of the table.
Hmm.
And I'm standing beside Simone, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm just like, I was just looking like how I'm looking right now, all crazy. I literally was like, we were in conversation, and I was like,
Mhm.
girl, I was like, no. It felt like it was a treat just for me. It
Mhm.
felt like I am inviting you into this space. Like it was just that anticipation of what was to come
Mhm.
from the night. It was just like we are getting a glimpse of what we are about to be a part of. Like we literally are legitly invited to sit in a space. And I was mind blown. And
Oh,
let's not talk
thank
about
you.
being inside with the decorative boxes and the stage setting and the way that the audience seating was. When I when I tell you Michael Cummins is telling you to keep soaring, Stacey, when
Oh,
I
thank you so much. I appreciate you. Mm.
what I tell you, it was amazing, Sharina. Like Sharina is saying, it sounds amazing. This is an amazing realtor right here, by the way.
Okay.
When I say Stacey, it did. It inspired me to be like, why can't I? Like
Mhm.
whatever I think, why can't I? Like Stacey literally has done exactly what she said she was going to do with this event and then more. And then I'm going to tell you the way that I was, because I talk to people and I'm an observer, and to
Right.
hear so many people that were just like, I just reached out to her and asked her, what could I help her with? And just hearing how special they felt to even just be a part to help you. That says a lot when somebody just feels special to be able to be a part and to help, and just to see the genuine vibe like people like Sarita gave. Sarita is like picking up, our dinnerware and the napkins, and she's just basking in just greatness, just doing that.
Mhm.
Stacey, you did, and I don't even feel like this is your big one. That's the part that I just love
I
about
feel
you.
like this is just the beginning. If
This
they
ain't
don't
even your
even,
big one.
if they
And
don't
it's
even,
like I know that this ain't even your big one. That's why I'm just like, this girl is bomb. This girl is the shit. Like this is not
oh, thank
even her
you.
big one. Like it's like you can clearly see. I think this is like Stacey's like, yeah, I got that. Like, but just wait what's coming next. Like I feel that vibe from you. And it's effortless. You are such a pleasure to work with in terms of you're a pleasure to work with. Like even if people are coming at you a mile a minute and they're asking you questions, like I literally saw you just be even kill. And I love people who are like that. It's like nothing frazzled you at all. And so I just hats off to
Oh,
you
thank you
because
so much. Thank
this
you. And that's
was
how it felt like that. And then
whew,
I
it was
think that's why, even with this event, and I think even moving forward, like the it has to be intentional with
yeah,
who dwells in the spaces with you. I learned that through business because I've been in business for some time and I've had some relationships where you can sense that the relationship is not genuine, or you can tell that it's more a transactional relationship. But I feel like with this, to start this, it needed to be very, very intentional, because I'm thinking about how is Devonese energy going to feel if she's next to London, or if it's even a Simone. Like, so I think it's important too, who do you bring into your space, because energy is real. And I feel like
it's,
even looking at all the women, when we were all dressed up and I was seeing everybody so glammed up and you can tell that they feeling good. I feel like if we're honest with each other, I feel like even though everybody's personality was so different, if we were all in a bowl together, we could be pea, like we could be a pea in the pod together. It was like the energy was like the synergy was like leveled out and everybody was the same. And I think that that's important too when you're developing these style events, because not every event is going to be like that. But
yeah.
when you're doing it where it's supposed to, affect the person in that way, I think that it's important with who is in attendance as well.
I think that's very true. Like, and I don't need to tell you this, but it's like even your choice of DJ, to the choice of who
Hmm.
bartended, to the brand that you decided to partner with. Like, tell us how this partnership with Mercedes Benz happened, because everybody keeps talking about that. Like, oh my gosh, she even had Mercedes Benz there. So talk about how the synergy is real with you, because I even met Margarita out there, and she's just like she's she's mingling with people, she's, interacting. She just felt like the vibe that you were going for as well. And so how did that
It's
sit
funny
with
because Margarita, she actually came in maybe 3 weeks ago.
you?
So she
Wow.
wasn't even a part whenever I pitched one thing that I can say, and I'm hoping that like people who actually get to see the podcast, I hope, and even when I was creating set, is that
Yeah.
you have to, as big as you dream, you got to be put on big enough panties or big enough drawers or whatever you want to call it to go after the thing that you want. And for
Yeah.
me, I felt like I love in branding. I love luxury, and I love luxury brands. 'Cause I feel like they just get it.
Yeah.
They're going to take time to study color theory. They're going to take the time to make sure the materials are right. I just love it, and I know even us as women, we're emotional people, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
making sure that I'm connecting with a brand that can trigger emotion, because again, like even strategy wise, I'm partnering with people that are going to help bring the vision together for the end results to continue. Like ideally is to make us want to do more.
Yeah.
So when we're in these luxury, when we get next to luxury, I feel like as women, we operate different. When you
Yeah.
got on a red bottom or you got your purse on or you got your Gucci, whether it's a sweater or your flip
Mhm.
flop, like we act different when
Yeah.
we're next to luxury. So I was like, you know what? I really want to connect with the luxury brand. But believe it or not, that's why I tell you the power of where you are and how you're inspired. I actually was in communication. My first corporate sponsor originally was going to be City Furniture. And we were working out our collaboration there, and I was waiting to hear back what they were going to offer and so forth. And I'm saving City Furniture for it didn't make sense for this
Yeah.
one. So we're gonna collaborate on something moving in the future that will be another great experience, right?
Awesome.
But I was leaving. Miss Lynn Simpkins had a speaking engagement, and I was dressed up. I was already to the part, and I was on the highway, and I was telling myself, I was passing by, and I drive a Mercedes. I love Mercedes and what it does for me, right? And the sign was there, and I was like, you know what? What the hell? I'm already dressed up. I'm gonna just go in there and see if I can get the sponsorship. I'm waiting on City Furniture to let me know. I'm waiting on what is it? Is it DIHI, the mortgage company, the builders?
Okay.
Um, I can't even think of their initials, but they built
Money
a lot of
and
houses here
Eli
in
Horton.
DR Horton.
Yeah.
DR Horton was, I was in the mix of finding out, okay, well, what could they offer as a
Yeah.
sponsor, or were they even interested, and was going through the communication. It's like, man, forget that. I saw the big sign Mercedes passing on I-4. I exit my black behind right off. I was already looking like a boss, and I felt
Yeah.
like a boss because I was inspired by
Yeah.
what Miss Lynn had said, right?
Come on, Miss
Not
Lynn.
just empowered, but I was really inspired. And
Inspired.
it was so good listening to
Yeah.
her speak, and the whole nine. I walked in Mercedes and I just let them know, hey, can I speak to the manager?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
GM just happened to be in his office at the time, and nobody knew. They asked me, okay, can I tell him who you are? And yeah, my name is Stacye J. Go in the office, and I let him know. And me, because I'm passionate about sit and I knew what I wanted it to be, it was easy for me to describe it to him. And just one sit down conversation in the Mercedes office, he was like, you know what? I think we like this. He was like, and it's a man. This is a man. He was
Yeah.
like, I got a wife, and I know how this girl empowerment stuff goes online. I know what this does. And then also, I feel like, because I really love branding. I know the Mercedes brand,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
when I'm sitting there, I'm making sure that they know, hey, 80% of your buyers are women.
Because I
How
have a
many
Mercedes
of
too.
those women are entrepreneur women
Yeah.
that are within this age, 31 or
Yeah.
29 to 51? I know what that number is. So I know that we're going to bring value to you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Making sure you understand, like, hey, if I have a combined audience of 100 women, how many of those, like, they're calculating what the reach is going to be. You're talking about over 500, 800 something K people on just one platform.
Right.
That's the type of marketing that we're going to bring to you, because we're collectively, we're sitting together. It's
But
not just me, it's all of us.
right.
So I sat down and I had that conversation, and he was sold. I
Yeah.
went from talking to the GM to the following week having conference calls with the regional manager, the whole regional part. So it wasn't just a Mercedes Fields, the whole regional part of Mercedes got involved in it. So it was perfect. But again, that's how definitely motivated me to step up a few all night. Yes, yes. But like I feel like it worked because I believed. And then
Yeah.
also, that's why I think everything that I do when it comes to this, even with branding, like when you're inspired, you operate different. And Miss Lynn inspired me that day. We had already had our relationship and had already had other things. I've talked about sit to her. We talked about different places we could go after. But like that day, I was super inspired.
Yeah.
And I was able to secure it from being in that moment. And I think too, I'm hoping with Sid that it makes people move, but move now.
Yeah.
Don't wait because when we wait, you have to build that momentum back up. So you're like going 5 steps backwards when you wait because now you got to rebuild yourself. You got to train your mind to believe in itself maybe 2 or 3 times harder from where you already just left off at.
Yeah.
When you are inspired, move. Just move because you just never know what blessing is going to come from you just moving.
When you are inspired, move. So let me go there with you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go here with you, okay?
I think
When
I
you are,
know it. No, I'm just kidding.
uh-huh, uh-huh. You already know, but it's good. So
Mhm,
listen, when you are inspired, move. I was
mhm,
so inspired by that event, by the event that I did an impromptu ask of Stacye. Like I asked her, I have got to get you on this podcast. Like I need you on this podcast because I want to know how you feel about this event. Like I hear it, but I want you in real time to come on because this is a space. Like I was telling her, the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast space is very special, right?
mhm,
Aside from the numbers, aside from that, it is special because I've built such a community that, and here's what I've realized about what I've done thus far, because this is a branding guru and genius, and she called my ass out on a lot of stuff and I'm listening to her like, and she's like making so much sense. Like she's just making so much sense. And it's like if she's a part of this, like this in itself, every opportunity when you put yourself out there, you are representing your brand every time you are out in the public. And that is just what it is. So that's real business. That's real legit. You know, you're taking care of and you are nurturing what you're putting out there because it is your
mhm,
brand. But I was telling her that the special place that exists with my platform is that the reach, what I've come to learn over the 3 years that I've done this, is that it's huge. Because it can be that one female or that one male that watches this show, and I will be out in public, or somebody will inbox me, or somebody will like email me and say, I caught this episode. And I'm like, how? Because I didn't see you in the numbers right now. Like,
mhm,
how? And they're telling me how they were inspired by the things that have been stated on this podcast. And Stacye, when you say, you know, and hopefully the people will see this episode, or when they see this episode, like they see it. Because at some point I was just like, well, hell, are they seeing it? They
mhm,
are seeing it. So much so it's an award-winning podcast. So much so that I have been invited in different spaces that I didn't even know they were watching, where it's like, we need you to bring your podcast. Whether or not I had a professional camera, whether or not I'm on a tripod, whether or not I'm on my phone, it's like they don't care. They want what I bring to the table. And so that magic, coupled with the freaking marketing genius,
you so funny.
not even marketing, the branding genius, it is just it's a great space to be in. And like I said, like she chewed me out. She's like, Jazz, what about this? And da 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 da. And it's just like it came from her professional expertise. And I could do nothing but like sit and just like, okay, yes, this.
Mhm,
Then I was just like, but listen, this is what we're gonna do. And I can tell you how it's gonna work. But then I'm like, we coming back. We coming back with a vision that you have that will be in sync with both of us. And I want to say, for the first time in a very long time, did I really feel that saying where people say iron sharpens iron, right? Because just
mhm,
like when we went to do the infomercial or whatever, like how we just did it together. And you're just like, oh my
Right.
God, I can tell that you do this, da 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 da. Like
Mhm.
that is just like my space of comfortability. Like I just feel in my zone when I'm doing that. Like that is just like my zone. I try to and we get better at what we do because we have to work at our craft, right?
Mhm.
But it's just like me seeing you at this event, and I'm just like, my gosh, like the one hitter quitter. Like this is just
You
like a take. Like this girl's eye for detail and just eye for creating a space that you wanted to. And like you said, you didn't just want to motivate people; you wanted to inspire them. And I'm
Mhm.
looking at the comments that I keep posting up to you, like this Portia. That's good. When you're inspired, you move and write.
Mhm.
So it's just like listening to the sidebar conversations, listening to and looking at their social media pages. I have connected with so many women in the past 3 days, Stacey.
Mhm.
I'm just like, I get people looking at me every day and they don't say anything, but these women are commenting. They are reposting my stuff. They are
Yeah.
inboxing me, and the charge is there. We were all tasked to move to do something. Look at Reese. Reese has checked in. Hey, lady, Miss Tablescape Genius, you. Um,
Mhm.
we I think we are taking your challenge and we are doing it.
Mhm.
So how does
And I
that feel?
think too, the more intentional that we are with how we create, even when I design set, everyone can tell you from the team, I kept saying, man, I hope after sit, everybody start doing events because, like, I'm tired of getting on the plane. I love it. And I love letting my baby is so obsessed with traveling. Like,
Yeah.
anytime we riding and she see a hotel, she's just like, Mama, we going to hotels tonight. So she love it. And I mean, I'm blessed to be with somebody who also enjoys the ride. Like, we really enjoy it. But I do think it's a obligation of mine now that I am a mom. Like, I think about a lot of stuff, and I
Yeah.
want her to know that, like, you don't got to run away from the resources that you have, and you don't have to be a small fish in a big world. Like, I think, is it you? It's someone who I heard recently that made that statement. I'd rather be a small, wait, I'd rather be a big fish in a tight space
Mhm.
so I can have bigger impact versus being this teeny little fish in this mega city and I'm trying to fight everybody to be able to be seen or be able to impact the people. Like, we have a lot here.
We
We just
do.
got to start collaborating. So I was just like, man, after sit, heck, if somebody reach out to me, like, if I can help in any creative way to like
Yeah.
push your event. Like, I want to start enjoying some events here to where I don't we considering like what credit card, what airlines have the right card so we can start getting the flyer miles and all this stuff. Like, I want to be able to, because me as a business owner, I know that collaboration, I know that it's important to network and those things, right? I do feel like that we can do more here. I just was like, you know what? I've experienced so many wonderful events. Like, even with Mecca being there, I literally was just I'm at the Pink Gala every year. I know what that feeling feels like when I go out and when I come back, I'm just so ready to go. I was like, man, if I could just give the women a taste of that here,
Yeah.
then we all gonna be doing it. Like, I can't wait to attend Tia's brunch. Like, I'm gonna attend
Listen,
Tia's brunch.
I
Brown
wanna
Girl
I'm
in
gonna say
Bloom will
opulent.
be in West
Listen,
Palm soon. Like, I want to go to all the
opulence is gonna be
stuff.
the key word of the day. When I go to
Right.
Tuesday event, opulent is it.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So I was hoping that and I think that it will. Like,
Yeah.
we start popping out and start showing up and having more events and pouring into each other, because it's very important as a woman to make
Mhm.
sure that you are pouring into yourself,
Yeah.
especially as an entrepreneur. Like, my job, my entrepreneurship is my full time. So I don't have the structure of going in and then letting it be what it is and then they come home and figure out the rest. So for me, it's very important. So I need to be at an event every so often
Yeah.
around women that think like me, that can help recharge me and help me think creative and for me to let my hair down for a moment. So
Facts.
I'm hoping that it inspires people to start doing more,
Yeah.
because I feel like Lakeland going, even though everybody moving away, and I was one of them too, because when I went to Miami, I would never have imagined coming back and buying property here.
Yeah.
Even when I came back, when Prince got me and persuaded me to come back to Polk County,
Uh-huh.
I went to Orlando first for 2 years. I just couldn't see it. But now,
Yeah,
like being amongst other women, it's like
yeah,
I think it's a lot of people that want it. I think
yeah.
some people just don't know how, or they haven't seen it. And if they can see it, I can almost guarantee that they're gonna start doing it.
And this is what I love about you, because I don't hear the gatekeeping. Like, this was my idea. This is, which it is definitely yours, is your baby, but I hear you wanting to open the door for other women to create great experiences, great
Mhm.
events for women or for the general public. Like, I don't hear you saying I was the one that did it first, and so nobody. I don't hear any of that. That's not the spirit that you move in, and I think that's why you are so blessed with it. Like, I love that spirit about you. And then you are consistently
You
saying,
better, girl.
yeah, right. You are which I am going to be doing the red carpet hosting at
Okay,
Trisha's
okay, okay.
event, at her event, her fashion show that she has coming up, which is so amazing. So everybody, make sure you guys get your tickets for that, for real, because she is also someone who is very helpful. She's also someone who's a sweetheart and who believes in that collaboration and building other women up. That's what her whole fashion show is about. But the collaboration piece that you keep speaking of, it's not just a speech, it's not something that's a catchy phrase. Like, you make people feel it. And I've been in spaces where it's just a phrase, like it sounds good, but is that what we're really doing? Because I'm getting a different vibe from you, and your vibe just from day one, which is
Mhm,
so crazy because we've been in so many different spaces. Like, even with you
mhm,
speaking to my kids at Catapult, it's just like the students here at my school, I'm just like, Stacye is like bad. Like, even from just listening to you with that, and I told you 15 plus years ago when I was an assistant principal, like, I used to be at my computer sometimes and I would be drawn to your site, to your designs, and I'm like, I love this girl's aesthetic. Like, I don't know her, but it's like I knew your brand before I knew you. And I was
mhm,
telling you that at the event, and I just think that speaks volumes. But going back to collaboration, I'm gonna get it out. Going back to collaboration, there was a saying that someone stated, um, that if you can reach success by yourself, then you're not dreaming big enough. You're not doing big enough things. If you can do
mhm,
it by yourself, because imagine what you could do when you collaborate. When you collaborate with people, it's going to be an exponential burst of growth. And so that saying has stuck with me lately. And then it was just reinstated in my brain at sit. And it's just like, girl, like, collaborate. Don't be afraid to collaborate. And Donna said something very, very good, which I know a
mhm.
lot of women go through, because she said she mentors a lot of women who have been hurt. And that
Yeah.
is very true. When you collaborate and you are vulnerable with someone, you share your dreams with someone, and then you get burnt. It's just like, no, I don't want to share this with anybody else because you don't have my best interests at mind and at heart. And it's hard. It's hard. And so when she said she collaborates and she mentors women back to that space of being collaborative, I was just like, yeah, this is a message that I need to hear. So
Yeah, I think that if you wanted, I mean, like, just imagine, like, if you at the top. You know what I think is, I was gonna post a picture of a chick. I keep saying chica because that's my Miami, right, for all my Hispanic friends. Um, but I was gonna post a picture with Tina Roberts today, and then I was waiting on more photos. Like, I'm gonna post more, more, more. But that picture had it. Just seeing us on the photo together, I
yeah,
was just like, man, like, we've been cheering for each other since we both came into existence in entrepreneurship. And to see her and time go by, and see her still doing her thing, invite her, and then it's like it's a totally different feeling when you can cheer for somebody and you are genuinely cheering for them and they can feel it, right? But then
yeah,
they're genuinely cheering for you too. And it allows you to be in a space where, like, for me, the women who I have around me, I never have to be afraid to tell them about my successes.
yeah,
Because sometimes when you know that it's not authentic, you kind of don't want to share your the good that's happening, not because you don't want to share the good. It's just a fear that, okay, they're going to feel less than, or
yeah,
maybe they can't be as genuine because they or as grateful for you because they are lacking in so many. So to me, I feel like collaboration if we all are winning together, it's so much easier to be happy for you. Even though, in life, not everybody's race is going to be the same. Some
Yeah.
people get faster, some people, what I mean, it takes time, some people have setbacks, blah, blah, blah. But it feels so good when you know that you can be proud of what you've done, and you know that that person is going to be happy for you, and you don't have to like dim down the light at all.
You
That
don't.
that to me
And
is,
that's
and
something that
that's
you
what
said.
collaboration does. You know what I mean?
That's something that you definitely said that stood out to me. It's like I don't have to dim down. Well, I think Stephanie actually said it. She's like, my light can shine bright, and I don't, and
Yes.
just because my light is shining bright, that doesn't mean that I'm going to dim anybody else's light, around me. Like my light, it's gonna be there. And Shambria, hey girl, hey Shambria, look, listen, so. That's one person who poured into me at the event. Like this girl is getting content for me, and in turn, I was getting content for her. We out there just
Mhm.
shooting one another's videos. Like the same thing happened with Simone. Simone is here saying that this is a great conversation. Like Simone just was like bomb. Like, girl, you created a space. Like you said, it wasn't just for content creation, but man, did you create some memorable moments with Mercedes Benz and even your swag bags. Like everything was
Even
intentional.
that to intention, because I felt like, and those are huge corporate brands. Like to be able to have
Yeah,
St. James iced tea say, "Let me come in and sponsor our teas to mix to make your mocktails." To me
yeah,
was like, ooh, you know what I mean? And you
uh-huh,
just sit in a deck. A lot of a presentation does help, but I think too sometimes with events, period, sometimes we'll miss the mark because we are not intentional. So
yeah,
it's a women's summit. We're inspiring, we're pouring into each other. We're working on like ourselves and how we, like build ourselves up. In order to build yourself up, you got to build yourself up from the inside out. We already know that beauty is inside
yeah,
out. So making sure that even the products align, it's all organic products or products that are healthy for women, things that can help us, pain relievers or whatever. It was, I think, an iron brand. Flora came in and did the sponsorship. Purely
yeah,
Elizabeth, like, if I'm going to pour into myself in a healthy way, spiritually,
yeah,
mentally, all mindset, everything, then the things that I consume with my health needs to be aligned as well. So making sure that
yeah,
I did, but for a different event that had a different audience, a
yeah,
different end goal, then I would have partnered with different brands. But those brands made sense, and it was some really bomb brands that came in
yes,
and supported us, Lakeland, Polk County, Central
Lakeland,
Florida, Orlando,
yes,
Jacksonville girls that we think, and it was literally just axing, but when you ax, making sure the ax aligns. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's good. Listen to me, Stacey. Say that one more time, please.
That's just it. No, you got to make sure when you asking for these things from people that it needs to align. The ax has to align.
The ask has to align, like, and with that, alignment comes with, does it align with my vision? Does it align with my purpose? Does it align with my
Mhm.
brand? Does it align with the goals that we have? Are we equally going to get something out of it? Like, is it
Mhm.
is it something that the mission, the vision supersedes, some things? Like it does have to make sense. And I think a lot of people ask and it just doesn't, unfortunately, but it just does not. And so I want to go back to intentionality before we close because I know you were kind of like on a tight schedule, and I know Miss, the family is
And
waiting
I'm
on you.
good. I think we're good now because
Okay, okay. But
we
listen,
had daddy
we
best
were
friend take over, so I think I'm pretty good.
okay, cool. we were in Simone and I were in mid conversation,
Hmm.
and she was like, "Wait, it's International Women's Day,"
Hmm.
and she's like, "This girl purposely did this event on that day." And I was like, yeah, absolutely. That's what she did. Like, this is
Hmm.
a women's summit. Your event was from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. with
Hmm.
a schedule that was strategic.
Hmm.
And when we were all escorted out to the lawn that was beautifully adorned with your tablescape with fresh flowers
That's
and
right. Fresh
chargers
season.
and listen, I'm a sucker for some fresh flowers, let me tell you. And then with the men catering. to us. So intentional that it was a representation that the men that were helping were all the men who belong to you guys. So they were not only serving you and showing you that this is my woman that's responsible for this event, but I support her and I support all women, to
Mm-hmm.
the fact that when we started eating and enjoying everything, the sun set. Girl,
Mm-hmm.
what? I said no words. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was just such an experience from from top to bottom. It was just like the sun is setting, and so now our job is done. Like now, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do out in the world, right? Shambria said this was the best Women's Day celebration ever. So yes, we are giving you your flowers,
Oh,
Stacye.
thank you. Thank you.
That's why it was just it was important to me to have you here. It was like for me it was like hell or high water. Like if you want me to hire a production company, then damn it, I'm gonna do that, Stacye, if that's what you want. I need for you to be here like in this space right now because I need for you exactly to see because I know you've been seeing it online, but I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to see like in real time the high effect size that you had with women with this event. And it not only is going to stay at the epicenter of your event, but there have been some women on here that own event spaces. And
Mm-hmm.
they've been commenting on how beautiful everything is. For instance, I'm gonna bring Claudia up. She's like, love this because Claudia's event is where Tia is having her event, and she's like, love
Oh,
this.
nice. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like the impact is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like trust and believe the impact is there. And like Claudia, oh my gosh, her space is beautiful. So I cannot wait to
Okay.
see what this is gonna turn into. And that's someone that I know will probably tap into you as well, and you know, vice versa. So it's starting.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, like Lakeland is a special place, Polk County is a special place. We can do those things that we see in Chicago and in Miami and in Atlanta. We can bring those
Right.
that we see in Texas that we travel for, we actually can bring it here. So I just, Stacye, I had to get you here, and I had to get you here in real time because even at your event, I stated I love women, but then sometimes I don't, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just real with it because I go into things with my heart open. Like I'm an observer, like I keep saying. And it's like I just want to see how real this woman is. It's like I want to connect so much and create so many genuine relationships with women. But I have gotten burnt with women, like women who I thought were happy for me, but we're not. We're jealous. And so much so to you get to the point where, you know, I'm going to church and it's like I'm receiving messages of people like be very careful about people who are trying to align with you because they don't want you to win. They just want the like the I don't know, like the drawing that comes with being associated with you. And I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
I get it on the spiritual realm, like that's very serious for me. And it's like, especially like if I'm feeling it. So it has been a feeling of caution for me. But in my heart of hearts, I want to have a great circle around me. I want to have a great tribe of women because I know women can be great and we can be so
Mm-hmm.
much more powerful together. And so I appreciate like you opening that door and actually showing like I never had any hesitation at all with working with you. If anything, I was uplifted more in this journey than I feel like I was uplifting you. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like how does that happen? Like this girl has literally uplifted me from conversation number one. And we still talk back. And I'm like, girl, if
Mm-hmm.
you only knew, like I have been a fan of yours for
You
over
said-
15 years. And I've said I always wanted you to do some things for me. Like I was like, I want to work with her, but I felt like I was never prepared because I'm just telling you, Stacye, like, yes, you are a luxury brand. And I feel like your price is your price. And I don't want to come playing with you. You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, I respect that with you. Like, I really like that. And that says a lot about you, you know,
Mhm.
like it's just something to be respected, you know?
No, I appreciate that. I really, really do. This was a nice experience, and I'm glad. My first initial thought was like, man, should I do something like this
Yeah.
in Miami? Should I go to Orlando? And I was like, you know what? At some point, we got to stop telling ourselves and other women because we influence each other. Sometimes you have the wrong conversation with the wrong
Yeah,
person, you have your whole mindset shifted another way. But if we can't keep complaining and saying that the city is slow or they don't get it or how does change happen without change? Somebody got to start changing it, right? So I was
right.
like, you know what? I'm going to try something. And then I left the ideal of trying. I said, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to do it. And then the
Yeah,
perfect people aligned to allow me to be able to do it with them. Because I still think it's a collective, a team effort. This
yeah,
whole time they keep telling me, "Oh, girl, you," and I'm like, no, us. It's been us. Even with the people who attended, it's like, it could not have been what it was without the people that were a part of it. So it was a us for us. So I'm hoping that we're inspired to keep moving.
and Shambria said she literally uplifted each and every one in the room. The focus of impact and of change is what we got when we were in that room. And so to the women who were watching, whether they were there or whether they were not, but especially if they were there,
Hmm.
Stacye, what words would you say to them? Like what is it that you would like to say to them?
What I said on that stage, y'all better not make this be the last time that you connect with somebody for real, for real. Like,
No, for real.
do it. Like, make the it's I know I don't know if we close it. I remember when I wanted to do this thing big and I reached out to somebody who I felt like would be the perfect, and this is just a very transparent moment,
Yeah,
right? And I
please.
never really share it with anybody, but you know what I mean? I went in with this idea and this the whole concept of like when you feel not really necessarily being burnt, but like when you have an idea and you just know you're gonna have the right person support it. It just to me it made sense.
Yeah,
But then understanding that like it was a journey that was meant for me. So now when I look back on it, and even as I started to move forward, not that person, they just left the whole thing on the table. No follow-up, no nothing. And even to the point where I wanted to reach out to someone that I felt like would be really good to help me understand how to secure the corporate sponsors. And I would have, if I would have let that moment make me feel like, okay, this person didn't support me, and maybe she's right. Maybe I shouldn't reach out to somebody else to ask. But man, we got to start opening up our mouths and asking.
yeah,
Like, I remember asking Mecca, like, what do you think about this? Or how can I do this? And like, this person that is literally a client, but still saying, girl, I got you.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
whatever you need, just let me know what you need. And even to the point when the hurricanes were hitting, because originally I wanted to do it in November. And then I
Mhm.
was like, you know what? It
Tell
need
us
to make
tell us what date you want to do it in November.
it was gonna be on November 9th
Which was
originally.
my podcast even. I was like,
And
no.
I was
And I
so
didn't know
mad
that. And
because
I didn't know that.
I was like, I want Jazz the host. And then when I found out that you were planning to have an event, I was like, man.
Yeah,
But again, I feel like God made no mistakes. Everything is supposed to happen the way that it was and how it did and how it will
yeah,
continue to be. And I think that even though sometimes even the no or even the letdown or even you never know what the person is going through, and
yeah,
even yourself you got to give yourself grace too, because even sometimes ourselves we're in a space to where we can't really make the best decision, or we can't pour or motivate ourselves to go because we are human. Sometimes you need a day to just be like, dang, I need this day to cry, or I need this day to be, feel like I'm at my worst. But I really want, and I hope, and I'm encouraging women, men, because you got some men on your thing too, to just like move. We have to, if Amazon will come here and make their whole headquarters here, if all these mortgage companies buying up all our land, these New Yorkers and California's coming over here and buying up all our properties and stuff, then something is happening here.
it is. It
Because
it is.
if those people can see, and most of them they're planning strategically, not for now. They're looking at where is Lakeland going to be 20 years down the line. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And if they can see the value, like we got to start seeing the value, and we have to. Now is the time really to move. Don't wait till things get popping, because then you just another one riding the wave to catch up. But like get
yeah.
off the sand, get in the water and start moving. Like that's the way that's what
Yeah.
I would tell people to do.
Get off the sand and get in the water and start moving.
And
And
move
that's,
for that tide, either
yeah.
get too high or too low.
Absolutely. The
Yeah.
time is now. The time is now. One of the things I always say, the time is now, or now is the time for a dope comeback. And so I already said, I know that you can come back from anything with God, the right resources, knowing how to use those resources effectively, and your willingness to do the necessary work. And so, Stacye, you are definitely doing all of those things. You have created a space for over 100 women to now activate, to now move, to now uplift one another, to form, such great bonds, that started at your event. And so definitely keep going, because we are definitely going to support you. And I felt it so important to just have your voice. Like I know you are vocal in terms of like on social media, but I wanted sound. I wanted audio. I wanted
Mhm.
visuals. I wanted just like for someone to feel like they could play you back at any time, because now you can, because you are in podcast land for this particular event. But literally, they can play this back as a moment of inspiration. Like if I'm feeling that I
Right.
cannot do this, but what did Stacye just say? Like Stacye didn't always have it easy, but Stacye has it within her that she's just gonna move. Like just driving her Mercedes one day, she's like, I feel like a boss. I'm dressed like a boss. Let me go talk to the bosses. Like this is what I
Mhm.
want to do. And so that even that piece can give the next woman or the next man the inspiration that they need. And so just thank you for being the blueprint, for magnificence, for real, for real.
You
Okay.
are. But no, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and thank your fiance, Mr. Prince, and also Miss Ocean for letting me get their mom and their fiance, for an
Mhm.
hour or so. I greatly appreciate your time, and you are definitely now a part of my jazzy crew. And so this is not a one and done. This is an open invite to come back most definitely. And
Right.
we
I gotta come back and talk. Y'all, I just got word on my next move. So I have something very special that I'll be introducing for the summer. So I'm so excited. I'm like rubbing
I'm
my
excited.
eyes right now. But
I'm
very
excited. I'm like, oh,
definitely, if and I have something I'm more than likely going to share in the week. So like if you were not a part of the experience, make sure that we're connecting, because there's going to be a lot more experiences, a lot more women that need to be connected and in the same space. But I have some special stuff that I'm working on.
awesome. And we
And
all
keep the
know it's going to be
momentum going. Keep the momentum going.
yeah. Listen, Shambria saying praise report. Absolutely. So by the end of the week, we're gonna be on the edge of our seat. So we're gonna be like, it's the day that she's gonna make the announcement. Let's just keep looking. Let's keep watching.
Mhm.
And be like, girl, did you see what she put? Okay, so
Mhm.
we're ready for clapping hands. We're ready to tag everybody that we know. And so we are proud of you, Stacye. Keep going. You definitely have some great supporters behind you. You have some great helpmates in your corner, and I pray for your continued success. And so thank you so much for bringing my special guest for episode 146 of the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. I appreciate you, girly.
I appreciate you too. And thank you, Jay. I'm giving you your flowers too, because
Oh,
you really bomb at what you do. Like for real, for real. You are so bomb. I even remember, and I'm not taking up the rest of the time on the podcast, but I remember even thinking
and it's breaking up a little bit, Stacye. So I know you said you kind of remember. It would see. Look at how that be happening. Like she trying to give me her flowers. So thank you, Shambria. You are the bomb too. Thank you so much. You do a phenomenal job at emceeing. You were just booked to MC. Here at Shay's pop up, and congratulations, Shay, for 30,000 views. Thank you so much, Stacye, for giving me my flowers. Like I truly do appreciate it, because when I tell you that this event was such a labor of love, like I truly do appreciate it. And so thank you, Reese. I do appreciate it. And so listen, this has been episode 146 of the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. Listen, I need for you to make sure that you subscribe, you like, you follow. I need for you to make sure that you engage heavily with this particular episode. It can be found on the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz platforms. That's JAZZIE Conversations with Jazz. And that is going to be on Facebook, and it is also going to be on IG and on YouTube. And so I'm coming back on here because Stacye, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened, but I am going to give you the opportunity to finish saying what you were saying, because I do think it's just a
It's
moment.
me. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm so irresponsible
Okay.
with this
Don't
phone.
do
But
it.
anybody who knows
It's
me
okay.
knows that my phone will die out in 3.5 seconds.
Because mine is dead. I ain't gonna
I'm
even hold you,
I'm
but
gonna
mine
work
is
on.
dead.
I'm definitely gonna work on that. When y'all see me in the street and y'all think y'all text me and you don't get a response, it's because the phone dead. But no, I was just gonna say everybody in unison, all were just like, "You gotta get Jazz. She's so good." So I think that you should know too that you're doing a phenomenal job because people see you and you're on brand as well in the sense of like what you bring to the table as a host, as a MC. You do a phenomenal job because you
Thank
work that thing for set.
It was such a pleasure. Like, I felt like, oh my gosh, like this is the room of all rooms. Like, these ladies, I was looking at a whole audience of ladies that I have been inspired by forever. And then you saw the connection that Jadacy and I had. So I was just like, yo,
Oh
this
yeah.
is this is just a space. This is just a space of all spaces. And so, girl, thank you for being bomb. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you everyone that took the time to even like hop on with us and stuff like that. We great. We both, I'm speaking for Jazz too. We appreciate you.
We do. We definitely appreciate you. And so, last response, oh, it comes from Regina. I love me some Regina. I'm wishing you well on your podcast journey. Look, Regina is Black history. Like, she's a
Okay.
woman that needs to be in the room. She's always in Tia's rooms, and so I love her so much. But thank you so much for saying this is a great
Okay.
interview. See, I needed this. Thank you. You are most welcome. Like, it comes right on time. And so, this has been episode 146 of the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. You can catch this podcast every Monday night live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, IG, and on YouTube Live. And that is Jazzy Conversations with Jazz. That is JAZZIE. Conversations with Jazz. I will see you back here. Remember, you can come back from anything with God. The right resources, your use of them effectively, and your willingness to do the necessary work. We'll see you back here on next Monday. Bye,
Bye.
Stacye.
Thank you guys.
See you later, Jazzy Crew.